Hi, and thanks for joining me today. This is second session with my AI coach. The first session really I found quite interesting, and it was not like talking to a real person because of the text and everything, but I think I learned quite a bit. One of the things I learned most was I have throughout my life really neglected muscle building. Uh, I've never had a program, never followed a program. I've done occasional things in the gym, even bought a set of dumbbells. But gym work is just not my thing, and I have to at 60 get get to change that. That was the number one thing from session one. Here in session two, I want to look at a little bit more about my history, about my training, and some of the things which have been hindrances to my training and what lessons I can learn from those.
Hi, I'm Ember from ChatGPT, and today we're with Brian for another session exploring life, fatherhood, and fitness at 60.
So I want to look at a pattern, and there's no better illustration of that than this graph. What you can see here is my 16-week programs for the marathons that I've run. I've run 36 marathons, but these are the only marathons where my training program has lasted 16 weeks. I do tend to, because of life, stress, a pressure job, never been able to put together a long program. And you can see here from my Golden Gate San Francisco marathon campaign, I had sort of a London trip in the middle of it. That's traveling from New York when I was living there back to London for a business trip. And then, had other trips to Washington and London, really my work interfering with, getting a real program together. And that's pretty typical. This next chart shows a period just after 9/11, and when I was training for the Buffalo Marathon in the springtime, and then Washington and New York in the fall. And you can see here I've managed to pull together a pretty reasonable run of weeks in training. But even then, I didn't beat my record of 13 consecutive weeks of over 30 miles a week. Now, I did break that record very significantly in 2017. 2004, I managed a run of 13 weeks. In 2009, there was a run of 12 weeks. But in 2017, when I was training for the Aberfeldy Marathon in Scotland, and also wanting to get down from, 12 stone, nearly 80 kilos, the heaviest I've been in my life, and feeling pretty low and, really suffering, I booked myself onto a marathon and managed to do 38 weeks at 30 miles or above. And that was a sort of a significant achievement. And I think in recent years, that is the fittest I've been. Unfortunately, just after the Aberfeldy Marathon, I broke my toe. I kicked a table, and that put an end to that run. And I've never really recovered from that. And the next chart is going to show, really a typical pattern since 2017. So as a reward to myself, after the Aberfeldy Marathon, I bought a new Polar watch, and for the first time, this one linked up to the internet and uploaded information into the Polar Flow app. And what you can see here is, my recovery from my broken toe, and then a campaign of trying to get fit again. But then I did a couple of marathons, didn't feel too great. I had health problems, didn't exercise for a while, then got over those, started another program. And as you can see, the repeating pattern of peaks and troughs, and long periods of actually not doing very much exercise at all. And I think that correlates to my overall fitness, my general physical health, but also I think there's a clear correlation to my mental health and what's going on in my head. I think that's shown in my weight chart, and now it's showing up in my exercise chart as well. And the two of those things together are sort of correlated to, I think, periods of depression in my life and problems that I'm having. So I really need to think about that and keep an eye on these things. And it's really only in sort of recent years that I've paid any attention to my mental health. And I think I can use these statistics to avoid, the age-old problem of, older people actually getting depressed. Although they feel happier, they seem to be more depressed at the same time. So I'll need to look into that a little bit more deeper as well. Just having a look at some of the significant periods and the blockers to me getting really fit and things that I need to get over in my life and in my 60s. Well, first off, there was a broken toe in 2017, just when I moved to Strava and started to track this Strava fitness. Then there was COVID, a big period where I just felt totally adrift, and that was a problem with my mental health at that time as well. That's when I actually sought some treatment for my mental health for the first time ever. Um, then there was sort of a heart scare. Got referred to a cardiologist to have a look at my heart. Actually came out okay, and there are signs of heart disease and blocked arteries, but there's no real explanation as to what the ECG originally showed in my checkup. Then I had a problem with my eye, and I was pretty depressed about that. I've did a video about buying a car, spending a lot of money, drinking too much during that period, and I was also not doing any proper exercise, and that was a pretty rough time for me. And then last year, I read the Peter Attia book, and that pretty depressed me about what the future holds for me. Uh, it's a book that I read to get motivation, and it actually did the opposite for me. It just put me off everything for a little while, and also that year I had a piece of skin removed from the back of my hand, which was precancerous. It wasn't a problem, and the dermatologist said I shouldn't worry, but I am fair skinned, and I could be prone to other problems around my body, so I need to keep an eye on that. So it's been a tough few years, and it has affected my overall health. And you can see that in my weight chart. You can see that in this fitness chart from Strava. So what I want to do is beat that peak and get up to 100. But then I through this coaching that I've been going through, reading Atia's book and actually using the AI coach, it's very clear that I have to change my whole program. I have been focused on marathons, and most of my running has been put in when I can, and it's not something which I've really thought about or focused on. It's just how many miles can I squeeze into my lifestyle, and on occasions, and I'll cover this in my next video about 2017, on occasions when I've been pretty serious about my diet and my fitness, I know I can do it, but it's these periods of detraining that I'm a bit wary about, and I do need to reduce them. So what does AI have to say about it?
The shift from race-based training cycles to lifelong fitness without breaking the chain. You're absolutely right. Every marathon cycle or any peak performance block follows the same pattern. Build up fitness to hit the peak, smash the race, burn out, detrain 6, start again. But never quite get back to your peak. Why this happens? Most training plans are built around event-based goals, not lifelong athleticism. They're designed to get you to the start line once, not to keep you fit for decades. Peter Attia's whole philosophy is that we're not training for this year. We're training for what he calls the centenarian decathlon. Can you still do everything that matters at 100 years old? The breakthrough mindset. The only way to never detrain again is to flip your whole approach. Forget peaks, forget race seasons. From now on, you're training for consistency, not events. The event is your life. Everything else is just a checkpoint. Instead of thinking like an athlete, start thinking like a machine that never stops running. Machines don't peak, they just hum along, always on. Here's the architecture of your whole next decade. Base phase, zone 2 plus strength, forever. Boring, meditative, Building the engine. Performance blocks, VO2 max plus race focus, 6 to 8 weeks at a time. Electric, laser focused. Recovery, zone 2 plus strength mobility, 2 weeks, invincible. Like you're getting stronger without even trying. If you're always running the base phase, you never lose fitness. You only layer peaks on top. What this means for you: you never start from zero again. You never detrain again. Your fitness graph starts looking like this. Instead of peak, burnout, detrain, repeat, it becomes peak, small drop, higher peak, smaller drop, higher peak. The concept of forever workouts. Every workout fits into one of 3 categories. Commit to the weekly rhythm. No matter what happens, kids, work, life, you always hit these. Workout type, frequency, non-negotiable. Zone 2, 4 to 5x per week. Yes. Strength 2-3x per week. Yes. VO2 max 1x per week. Optional only if you feel great. Long zone 2, 1x per week.
Having a plan is all very good, but the key thing is avoiding injury. And I think that looking at my diary, you can clearly see that I've had a number of injuries over the years. And when I get injured, it does tend to then put me off exercise for quite some time. And then having detraining and then getting back into it again. So I'm always just a beginner when it comes to keeping fit. And the difference now is, well, how do I avoid injury? How do I get over the habits which have hindered me in the past and really focus on long-term sustainable exercise that can see me from 60 to 80. Now, looking at my injuries, I've certainly got a weakness in my feet. Right from the very first marathon, I found that my feet were a problem in Berlin, right at the very beginning. My feet felt really sore after the marathon itself, although I didn't have a problem during the training. And weaknesses in my calf muscles have come up over the years. A torn calf. I've had one hamstring injury, and plantar fascia has been sort of the most painful and longest injury that I've had. It took me a long time to recover from a sore foot. I think that was when I tried to do a lot of sprinting, but I was sprinting on uneven ground. And I think one of the times actually stood in a stone, which was exacerbated by longer miles and trying to add quality into my training, and it all blew up. So that was a big problem. And the other is tendonitis in my Achilles. That's been another issue over the years, and I've tried to resolve that. And I think that tends to happen when I'm got long miles and hitting the pavement all the time. So I need to be careful about injuries as I move into my sort of more senior years, and I'll cover that off in a little bit more detail in another video. But right now, it is a concern. That's where we're going to leave it today. In the next video, I'm going to have another review of my marathon training over the years, see if there's any further insights that the AI coach can glean out of that material. And thank you very much. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye now.